Action.
Action. That's my line.
Action.
Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. And how do I do a quote from this movie?
Yeah. If I took your purse and I put it,
I'll do my best impression.
That's the Monkey Man.
Yeah, the Monkey Man. Jordan Christensen.
Well, how about all the old guys punching him and saying, "Kill him"?
Yes. Or no, how about like you go up there. This is all about your laptop. He's just like, no, I thought you were gonna go put the flyer at his door. And he's like, dude, no, man. Like, I drove you here or whatever. Right, the whole conversation.
Yes. Oh, yes, the uncomfortable conversation. No, Ruben Ostlund is like a master at uncomfortable conversations. Like, I just feel like this is like The Office, but like kind of turned up a notch. Like he turned down the.
But it's not funny. I mean, is it?
I think it is.
You could say it's funny, but it's like I've never laughed. I'm always like, it's like cringe inducing.
Yes,
I'm like,
and that's I
watching through my fingers. Yes.
I love that. I just love that sting in your eye. You know, you're like, ah.
Oh, please stop. Make an ugly face.
He's like one of my favorite up and coming directors. Like, I mean, he's got quite a few movies under his belt. 3 big ones. He's got older films that I'm trying to get my hands on, but like I keep searching and like I can't get copies of them.
I did think of the one line though, where he's like, "All right, everybody, exit the exhibit. There's going to be something." And he's like, "Slow down, please." I said, "Slow down." He yells at everyone.
Well, because he was a cook, and so he's talking about like all his like how he made it, and everybody's like not even listening to him, and so he's like,
ready to get.
All right, everybody, calm down, slow
down. Yes, amazing.
Yeah,
because I get that. I actually get the whole like savor it and cherish it. It's like, dude, I'm just hungry. I want to eat. It tastes good. I better be the right portions. I better not leave here with like a little morsel of food.
Yeah,
but it's like movies like The Menu kind of remind me of, but
yeah,
but that one was a little different. Like Menu, it had the prestigious character, but the movie's actually pretty chill. It felt more like I don't want to say Hunger Games for some reason, but like what do you call that? Like not even Battle Royale, but like Clue. Like everyone's what was I was thinking of a game, but not like those dead games. But yeah, Clue, where you're trying to figure out what the mystery is, and each person's dropping one by one. Kind of like, and then there were none. That's what it reminds me of. I'm sure
I think that's a better
when we talked about The Menu. Oh, I liked this way better than there were none. But you remember watching that movie when we were kids?
Oh yeah, I like it. I rewatched it. It's actually still a really good movie.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I still don't know the twist though. That's the problem. I remember to this day. Spoiler alert! If anyone, I'm not going to spoil it right away. If you haven't seen, and then there were none, 1940 film or something, 1950s. I don't know when this came out, black and white. Anyway, I'm going to spoil it. 3, 2, 1. So and then there were none at the Cameron. That's how you do a real spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, and he dies.
And he's dead. And he's dead. But I remember at the end he puts like a sticker of a bullet hole in his forehead.
Oh, the old guy,
black and white. But I'm like, dude, like imagine seeing that in color in HD when you're standing next to him. You're like, that's just a sticker on his forehead. Like, you can't tell the difference between a bullet wound and a sticker on someone's forehead.
The funny part is, Ty, you took so long to say it, so the person that skipped probably skipped right to when you spoiled it. Cameron said it too fast. You took too long.
That's a good point. Oh, that is hilarious. You're right.
The skip.
Oh, here's a spoiler. Now we're done talking about spoilers from And Then There Were None. So anyway, guys, back to this movie, The Square. Like you said, this is directed by our favorite foreign director. Actually, I don't know. Who's our favorite? Denis Villeneuve? Probably my favorite. And Bong Joon-ho? Those are probably my 2 favorite foreign.
Denis probably number 1.
But after watching Triangle of Sadness, The Square Force,
I mean, if you consider Danny Boyle a foreign director, I mean, he does make English films. So
what British is foreign film. Get out of here with that nonsense.
Martin McDonagh is pretty high up there. He's not quite above them, but
remind me who McDonagh is.
He did In Bruges.
Oh yeah.
Banshees.
Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, I'm excited to see
And
what he does.
Sharon.
Like Inisherin, I said it right.
I know, it just sounds funny.
Inisherin. Actually, I don't know if I said it right. I'm assuming I'm mimicking the sound that I hear people when they talk about the movie Inisherin. But today we're talking about The Square. This movie came out in 2017 by Ruben Ostlund. It's a prestigious Stockholm museum's chef. Art curator finds himself in times of both professional and personal crisis as he attempts to set up a controversial new exhibit, which is, spoiler alert, The Square. Is it The Square? Is that its most controversial, or is it The Monkey Man? See, I need to remember this movie. What was it
Yeah.
like watching this for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast, Jordan?
I absolutely love this movie. After watching Force Majeure, I'm like, I need to watch everything this man does, which I could only get my hands on this and Force. But and then Triangle of Sadness, now that's out as well. But I just, this is my type of, I mean, Tice is not humor. I think it's humor. I think it's like, I mean, I laughed out loud a few
Vomiting.
times.
Well,
So
I'm thinking of Triangle of Sadness now, but vomiting into a toilet and then having that toilet erupt all over you as you vomit and writhe around on the floor. That's comedy, baby. No, I'm kidding. It was
yeah,
so over
well,
the top. I almost turned it off.
you know what's funny is the first time I watched this, I don't know if it was my TV screen was too dark, but after they start punching the monkey man and then it cuts to a shot of a homeless man in a sleeping bag, I actually thought that was his dead body and they left him out in the dumpster. I thought they actually killed him.
Y'all killed him. Yeah.
And so I burst out laughing because I thought that's how he died. And I was like, this is the craziest film.
It feels like this is the kind of movie that Velvet Buzzsaw wanted to be, right?
yes.
Like
See, and I
kind of
feel
like
like this
movies like
was,
that, where it pokes fun at
but,
high
but
class art, but while still
from
being high
from
class
the
art.
opening scene, it gripped me because like a guy's walking the street and then somebody like,
Chasing
help
them.
me. And she's like, and it turns out she's a con artist, but she's screaming and stuff. And then afterwards, the guy feels so good that him and this other guy like helped her out and then realized he's been robbed. Like there's just something so interesting about that because like it's just kind of like and especially like how it was played out. It was like all one wide shot,
Now,
slow
see,
take.
I have not read any reviews or listened to any reviews or people talk about this that are much smarter at reading film. I took that as just, hey, you can con people into thinking that this is something is high art or something good, when in reality it's just crap,
Oh,
right?
well, that was one of my favorite discussions when he's like, if I
Yeah.
just took your purse and put it in the middle of the room, is that art? And it's
Yeah.
just because he likes to poke fun at like that
They've
whole
done this
industry.
before. People have like left their mop buckets out. Like the janitor is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't put away the mop bucket yet." And then they're like, "Look at this exhibit in the middle of the floor," and they're like, "Wow!" Or one of my favorite, "It's Always Sunny." Frank, he's dressed up like he's got like the little wig on. He looks like Edna Moe from Incredibles, but he's like, "Oh, I love this display." And he's like, "Isn't that just the air conditioner?" And he goes, "But isn't that we're all just conditioning the air?" I don't know why it's so funny, and it's just like this floor air conditioning unit, and he thinks it's an exhibit because he's pretending to be an art critic, and she's like, "Isn't that just for?" The air conditioner. It's just like, isn't that what we all are?
Cassie
Conditioning
told
the
me about this.
air. So good.
I don't know if it's a book or a podcast, but she said the lady first went to a music school and her first day, or it was, I don't remember exactly when, but they were doing like everybody was presenting music and this one guy starts to play and then he turns on a vacuum and then turns it off and everybody's clapping like this is art.
I'll have to see who did this. There was a famous musician and composer. I learned this back in music class. He went out and it used to be customary to like he held up his one finger for like the first act or whatever the bridge, and he's just sitting there quietly at the piano. He's not playing any of the keys. He's just sitting there, and everyone in the audience starts being like, is he gonna start playing? Like, what's going on here? And someone coughs, someone sneezes, and then he holds up number finger 2 to let him know that they're in the second part, and they're like, we haven't heard any music yet. And then like some people like started talking like, what's going on? Play the music. And then he holds up 3 fingers for the third act, and then he like bows. Like that was the song, was everyone in the audience, and it's never going to be repeated. It's never the same. I'm like, What a gimmick, though. Like, to me, it's like, oh, it's so funny. He decided not to play anything, and everyone that in the audience ended up being part of this song. But I don't know. It's just a cop out. Like,
It,
it's almost like taking a punching bag, or not a punching bag, but like a punching glove. I've seen this. Boxers did this. This a piece of art sold for millions of dollars. He gets it's like a famous boxer dips his boxing gloves in paint and just punches at an art thing, and then they sell it for millions of dollars. And I'm like, my son could do that. But again, it's like, oh, it's the story, it's this, it's that. Modern art is stupid, is what I'm trying to get to. Sorry, folks, that's my opinion. It's postmodern art bothers me to no end. I don't understand fashion, and I don't understand modern art.
I think
It's
people can figure
useless.
that out with your tapestry, and it's just
Nick Cage, however, yeah, a whole shrine dedicated to Nick Cage and movies. Now that's art. That's some high class stuff right there, dude. Anyway, I
but
just, it's crazy.
well,
What is
and
the world coming to?
I,
It's
I wish
clown
I had
world.
my old roommate on here because he actually like loves that industry, and he was telling me about this one artist who like would do graffiti, and people like are so obsessed with his work because he always has something to say, and he kind of is actually bashing the art thing and saying how ridiculous it is that people spend money on it. And so like somebody auctioned off one of his paintings, and then as soon as it was done auctioning off, he shredded it. And
Oh,
then
I did see that. I did see
yeah,
that.
and it's just like it's just funny because then it ended up going off like they wanted it even more, and it's just so
Yeah, yeah, they're
ridiculous.
like,
It's like, don't
because,
you
but
understand? He's like saying
yes.
this is
To
dumb.
be fair though, there is something about the story behind it too.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Like a baseball, you could get it signed by Babe Ruth and it was the ball that he hit in outfield and you caught it, or whatever, right? And it's like it's now worth so much more, but you're like anyone could take a baseball and forge Babe Ruth's name. But obviously, could they authenticate it? Could they figure out, oh, this ball isn't even that old? This ball was made after Babe Ruth was dead. How could you explain that to me? So like there is like a fact of like what people are willing to pay for it is what something is worth, right? Because like someone's worth or someone's willing to pay this much for it. I guess that's what you would assume, that's what it's intrinsically worth. Because like I know people that collect baseball cards, I know people that collect Pokemon cards,
I still collect VHS tapes,
figurines,
so
bobbleheads, VHS tapes. Yeah, you're insane. You're an
I
insane
know.
person.
Did you watch Red Letter Media talk about VHS tapes and then they sold one of theirs? It's really great. You
Was
have
it
to watch it.
Nuki?
Yeah,
Was it a
Nuke.
Nuki episode? Nuki. This
Nuki.
awful, and then they destroyed as many copies as they could, and they're like,
Yeah,
technically, it's now worth more. I
yeah.
love that.
It's so
They're
good.
not
It's so
wrong,
clever.
and
Yeah.
it's just, but in the end, it is one of those things where you think about it, um, yeah, like you're like, no, you're a con artist, which is why that's what I feel about it. Because it's like if you trick someone into paying that much money, it's still not worth that much. Now you could argue
Mm,
that to them they think it's worth that much, but then they try to go cash it in and they're like, this is worth nothing. Like, I'm sorry, but you bought a piece, you were swindled, you were
yeah.
bamboozled, a wool was pulled over your eyes. This is worth nothing. It's worth less than nothing. You lost all your money. You lose, you get nothing. May heaven have mercy on your soul. I feel like that's got to be the case with so many different things, right? Like let's just say the world goes to crap. Will Forte in The Last Man on Earth, you see him like carrying the Mona Lisa like to his house.
Yes.
He just breaks into museums and he's like, I'm gonna take the actual Mona Lisa. I'm like the last man on Earth or whatever. But anyway, it's stuff like that where I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
and then
like
the
if
best
the
part
world
is
goes to crap.
when the girl I can't remember her name, but she's like painting on the paintings like little ducks and stuff, and he's like, "That's the Mona Lisa." Like,
Yeah,
what have
yes.
you done?
Yes. And it is one of those things too. Yeah, like what is it worth? I find that really interesting because to me that's a fine line because like I work in sales, so like you try to, you know, uh peddle something, you've got to convince people that it's worth what they're getting from it, right? And if you don't make the rates, you're like peddling something like insurance. You got to be like, okay, it's worth this much, but let me put in perspective. It's got all these benefits. It's going to do this, this, and that after you're gone. Oh, great. Like if they see the value in it, they buy it. But some people are like, this is outrageous. And then I start doubting myself. I'm like, you're right. I'm in the wrong industry. I'm a fraud. This is all terrible. And then I'm like, calm down. There's plenty of people that think this is a great deal. And there's plenty of people that are willing to pay for this, So anyway, it's just weird. Like
I
I
can't
think the
remember.
swindling is a perfect analogy of it because They think
Did
they did it really good. They're like, this is a beautiful thing. We shared in this moment together, you and I. We stopped this girl from being mugged from some other guy, and then in the end they got robbed, or he got robbed. So I'm like, there you go. That's what buying. That's what people that buy an expensive piece of art do. They stare at it and they're like, yes, this was a really good purchase. And then like
no,
they're
my
like,
favorite
oh my
is
gosh, my wallet's gone.
all those little piles of, I don't know, it's dirt or trash, and then the
Yeah,
vacuum accidentally
that's
sucks
the
up a
vacuum
bunch.
just like bums it and just sucks up part of the exhibit. That was so funny. Again, piles of dirt all over the floor.
I know, like what
Another great, yeah. The vacuum's just like get to work.
I know. Well, but even to me, and that's why I find it so funny, because it's just like art, especially modern day art. It's almost laughable. Like I just
Almost laughable.
I,
I'm beside
I,
myself. It's insane.
it is. It's just. I mean, I say this with like all this art stuff behind me, but that's just because like I'm a movie geek. Like I can't get enough. But I don't know.
It is crazy, and you know it's funny because like it's like us. We're reviewing art by like talking about movies, right? Like movies are a piece of art, but some films aren't. Like some movies were just meant to entertain, but then you're like, well, some art can be entertaining. Some art can make you reflexive. So like, because like I was gonna say like what makes good art, right? You're like, well, hyper realism. I think it's super impressive when someone can do something that very few people can. So
Hmm.
when I see a Jackson Pollock painting, every time I go to the museum, I'm really upset when I see that there because I'm like, paint splatters. Let's all just be real here. My son could do that. I could do that. And you're right. I may not replicate it the exact same way he did it, but even he couldn't do the exact same way he did it. It's a mistake. He's throwing paint everywhere at a painting and it's just blotches of paint. And I'm like, it's a gimmick. But you're like, but there's something beautiful about that. It's chaotic. It's this. It's that.
I,
This was
I'm,
during a time of great struggle. Whatever. There's a story behind it,
well,
right?
I think
So every
another
time,
film that did
by
art
the story.
museum stuff really well was what was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal? And
Velvet Buzzsaw?
no, he was in another one.
No,
That
go on.
was not good. But
No, it wasn't good. Jake
um
Gyllenhaal and another art film.
yeah, but it was also about that crazy dude. He's from Kick A. What's that? Remember, he's a psycho
Aaron?
and he chases down Amy Adams. Is that her name? From
Oh, you're talking about Nocturnal Animals?
Yeah, that one has a lot of like
Dude, we need to review Nocturnal Animals. That movie was insane.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
it was Thomas Ford, right, that directed it. He's a fashion
Yeah,
designer,
he's a
and he's
fashion
like,
designer.
let me make this kick-a movie. Awesome movie.
And
I
also
don't even remember
about
the plot of it, but I do remember Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams acting the heck out of that one.
well, but Amy Adams too is an artist. She works in an art museum, and it's
Yeah.
just
And they have this ugly, fat, naked, obese women at the beginning of it, and you're like with fireworks all over. I'm like, what
well,
is
her
this?
message was that everything today is junk. It's just garbage. So
So here's some fat, ugly women we view as garbage. So sad.
I
Hey,
know it
all
is.
women are beautiful. No women are past their prime.
And but there's something about this movie. I don't know. It's just, it feels like nothing else anybody else is doing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
100%.
yeah,
100%.
because I love his wide shots, and I just love the pacing of it and how uncomfortable it makes you feel. And just like, personally, I think it's hilarious. I just think there's so many great moments that just, I can't get enough of, because it's, for me, it's so visually fun. And and sometimes there's not even that much going on. I feel like, I guess like The King, so David Michaud's movie, and Denis Villeneuve, Michaud, uh, and Denis Villeneuve is probably a good comparison, because I feel like they don't put a ton in the shot, but they have these really wide shots where you can just take in just little things. I don't know if I'm nailing anything right here now, or if I'm
Yeah.
sounding crazy.
And no, and I like what you said about like spacing. Sometimes, yeah, there's a huge frame or you show a vast space and there's like one solo person. It does make it feel more isolating. It's less personal, right?
Yeah.
And I think
But
part of
that,
that was how cold the artist was, right? Or the
yes.
chef. He's yelling at
Yeah.
everyone and he's like up on this giant staircase. It's
And
this
it's
huge room, and everyone's just kind of like meandering and shuffling through, and he just starts yelling at everyone on top of the stairs, and you're just like, and that's why I thought of the menu initially, because of Ralph Fiennes as being like, this meal that I'm making, right? This is like I'm
yeah.
pouring everything into it. Or even movies like The Pig, where Nicolas Cage, he's like, I've never forgotten a meal I made. And I'm like, it would be so crazy to think like that. But like, I have friends that, more artistically minded, and yeah, they're impacted by images that they see and also impacted by images that they create. They never forget them. And
Mm.
I'm like, I'm a garbage disposal, garbage in, garbage out. Like, I'm like, I'll take on, and I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. It's great.
But
I
you can
mean,
remember
other than
lines from a
having early
movie.
onset Alzheimer's, I just think that, yeah, I'm not impacted by images. I can be wowed by something, but it's pretty
But
forgettable.
you can remember lines like perfectly and repeat them. I don't know what it is from
Oh, for like
movies.
quoting movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? But that's like almost like an impersonation thing, because like,
Oh.
what's weird? I can't hear lyrics very well when I'm listening to
Mm.
music,
Oh, me
even
neither.
English.
Yeah.
I'm hearing the lyrics and I have to hear the song like 800 times, or just look up the lyrics and I'm like, what are they saying here? Good
Yeah.
example of this. Ever listen to Hello Goodbye by that zombie band, or what? No, what's it called?
Oh,
Zombies,
something.
aliens, and
Yeah.
what? That song, what in the heck is he saying? You are the one who warmly lies close to me, whispers, hello, I miss you quite terribly. I only learned those lyrics because I thought the lyrics were like, I'm like, I didn't know what he was saying. I can't even like pretend to know what I thought he was saying, but I was like, what he's saying doesn't make any sense. And then I hear the lyrics and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he's saying. But even like Angels and Airwaves now, like I can't even understand half their lyrics. I'm like, I don't even know what he's saying right here. It's
Okay.
crazy. I don't have that mind. So it's
I
weird that I can get movie quotes down, but I can't get lyrics. Like,
I
what's
do need
that?
to mention one more thing is I burst out laughing when they showed the video and the little girl explodes. It was
Oh,
so
right. The,
unexpected.
the the commercials, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they're doing an ad agency about the square, or what was, there was a new exhibit or something, and he's
Yeah.
like, I wanted, and they're like, it's grotesque, and they're like, no, like we did it because, and people are outraged after watching this, like it seemed pretty excessive, and he's like trying to defend it, and I like that part of it. I thought that was really funny, like defending edgy, pushing the out, because to them that's like, well, see, and I do the same thing. Sometimes I watch movies and I'm like, it's just a bunch of actors getting together having a good time, getting paid to do this, doing something that they must love to do, because I would love to be an actor, I think. But then I'm like,
Maybe
I hear the stories of how freaking Bruce Campbell was treated by his friend
yeah, I
Sam
was gonna
Raimi, and
say
I'm
maybe
like,
not every
maybe
circumstance
not
is the
every
best.
movie set was that much fun, but
Maybe
yeah,
just
if you
Adam
freaking,
Sandler movies, but nah.
yeah, how are you gonna hang out together? Oh, that's my best impression of Adam Sandler. Anyway, yes, hanging out with your friends and literally go on a cruise ship and be like, oh, the camera's running every once in a while, and we'll just riff and say funny things as it occurs to
Unless you're
us. And
Daniel
like,
Day-Lewis, then I think it's like
yeah, or acting opposite of Daniel Day-Lewis. He's like, I'm going to hit you for real this time. You're like, please don't hit me. I'm just an actor. Oh, stop hitting me, please, Daniel.
they know he doesn't even know the camera's recording. He's just like
I'm just trying to get in character. Now I'm gonna make you eat your words.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, we need
that's.
to re-review that with you
Oh,
on
I know, dude.
not
I
lose your
know.
audio.
I know, dude. Yeah, everyone that's listening, I think Daniel Day-Lewis is one of my. It's weird though, because now that I say this, I'm like, that's my favorite method actor, because like he disappears into a role, and it's kind of like the art, right? It's like the art form where you're
It's
like,
so
you
funny
become
because you
so
bash
consumed
Jared
by it.
Leto all the
Oh,
time
I do,
about it.
because there's like a self-awareness almost to Daniel Day-Lewis where I don't know
Mm.
anything about his personal life, whereas like with Jared Leto,
Well,
somehow like,
Daniel
okay,
Day-Lewis is
for
giving
example,
us
Daniel Day-Lewis
performances.
wouldn't be Morbius. And I'm sure that
Yes.
maybe Jared Leto thought he was going to be like this really intense, like, I don't know, dude. It's just Daniel Day-Lewis is not going to be joining the MCU anytime soon, or a Disney Plus. Let's just put it that way. And I'm
Yeah.
glad for it. Like, who knows? Maybe he'll pull a whole Al Pacino and be like, "Hey, it's me, Al Pacino. I Dunkachino Donuts or whatever, Dunkin' Donuts from the Jack and Jill movie." Like, maybe he'll sell out. I don't know, but like,
Dunkachino.
I think it's a good. Did you watch Jack and Jill, the worst movie of all
No, but
time?
I love
Yeah,
that scene though with Al
yeah,
Pacino. Al
yeah. Al
Pacino's the
Pacino.
best.
Sure, it is weird. I was listening. Do you still listen to Never Seen It?
I don't think so. Oh,
Kyle Ayers.
not lately, you know.
It's really funny though, but they basically talked about Al Pacino, appearing in that movie, and they're like, it's just it's it's just weird how like another movie he was in was Gilly or something like that. It's got Ben Affleck and guy from Hangover. He pretends to be,
Mm.
and he's so bad at it, and it's like offensive betrayal of like handicapped people. And then like Jennifer Lopez at the time, Ben Affleck, they were dating, but they had like no chemistry on screen. And then Al Pacino shows up, and like he's such a skilled actor where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm watching a different movie, but you're like,
Yeah.
he's not good in the movie, but you're like, he's such a better actor than all these other
It
people
was
in this
like
film.
Christian Bale in
By
Taika
comparison.
Waititi's movie
Yes, perfect
Thor.
example. Now,
Yeah.
to be fair, I actually don't think Chris Hemsworth is bad though, because I think he was fine. I'm kind of tired of this.
Yeah, I'm not saying everything in it was bad. I'm just saying like,
Copy paste. Yeah,
but Christian
it's
Bale
just like,
is just
has
like
he
on
not
another.
learned anything? Oh, he hasn't. Like even when the love of his life has cancer, he's still the childish bumbling. I'm like, stage 4 cancer's funny, kids. I don't know.
But just
Watch the Hunt for the Wilder People. Don't watch
circling back to this movie,
yeah,
and
Square. What are we talking about?
we can edit thoughts on it because I know Ty was telling me at the beginning that he couldn't even remember very much of this movie, and I
can't
get it.
remember the ending. What is the ending? I can't remember the ending.
Well, that's the thing, and that's actually a reason I personally love it, is because I can keep
Sleeps with
watching
the
it.
invisible chick, or what was it? The Invisible Man chick.
Yeah,
Handmaid's Tale. I
she's
remember
great.
that. No, she was insane. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I like their relationship.
give me your okay. If there's kids listening, this whole
I'll edit
conversation,
it.
you don't need to edit this out. This is an important part of the movie. This is insane. So after they there's a and she's like, I like the and he's like, no, I'll take care of it. And she's like, no, give me the and he's like, no. And she's like, what do you think I'm gonna do? Like, just give me the and he's like, I'll take care of it. It's the most insane thing where she's clearly gonna try to impregnate herself with his. It's insane. It's
She's
this
not. It
crazy
has to do
scene.
with trust. That's what it's about.
You could say that, and then 9 months later, I'm trusted that you're going to show up to your court hearing and paying the alimony from here on out. You know, I'm just saying. Okay, so it just has to do with trust. I don't know. Is that all it is? Is
well,
just,
I don't know, but that's the fun
by
part.
The fact that he doesn't trust her.
I love that about his movies too. Is there's never like.
I'll spell it out for you.
Yes,
what
I love.
going on
he
here?
kind of exactly. There's a lot of moments that you're like, what is happening? And I love it. I just can't get enough of his movies. Like I said, I want to get a hold of his older films so bad, because these three are, in my opinion, some of the best. I love it. I agree though that
they're nothing like I've seen in a long time. They still surprise me. They subvert my expectations. So it's a breath of fresh air from everything else that's out there for sure.
Yeah, and I think The Square isn't. I mean, in comparison to the other two, is I think third. I would say Force Majeure, Triangle of Sadness, than this one. But it's still so good. I recommend
like Triangle more than Force Majeure personally, but you know what's weird? I found myself watching Force Majeure and thinking I was on the husband side almost, where I'm like, lady, like he may have even acted on impulse and he regrets it. That's enough. But I told my wife that, and she's like, if you pulled this stunt like that, I would be upset too. And I was like, oh. But then I thought about myself and I was like, no, like in my mind, I've been like, no, I'll die for my kids. And I don't think, but if I'm like in a Saw contraption for one of the movies and Saw, I'd be like, no, kill my kids.
Ouch.
That's awful. But I'd be like, you get my point. Like, take a bullet to the head. Sure. I don't care. Like, I don't care if
I can always have more kids.
I can always... Take them, not me. No, who does that? Like, stands behind kids and stuff. I'm thinking of that Titanic. I have a child. But there's other like push kids in front. Well, there's a great YouTube video of like a baseball's coming and someone reacted and he like grabbed his son or his daughter and like flinched and used them as a shield. It's an amazing video on YouTube. And everyone's like, find this man.
Stephen King's book's Dead End. And David Cronenberg directed it, and it's got Christopher Walken. That was a terrible impression.
Are you sure it's not Dead Zone?
Dead Zone, that's what it's called. Yeah, and at the very end, the president uses a child and he's hiding behind it.
He was
And
funny. I read the book. I don't remember. I love the idea that he used a kid. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the book.
oh, okay, they did that in the
But
movie,
I
and
love that he
somebody
uses a
photoshopped
child.
Trump's face on the the guy. I couldn't help but laugh. It's really funny.
So funny, dude. What?
Um,
Yeah. What is that, dude? Just taking a child and like tickle the
they did it
take
in
the shot.
Brickleberry. They've done it in a couple different things, but
Oh yeah, it's so funny.
yeah, it's just because it's like you couldn't stoop to any lower. Like,
So remind me how this movie ends. You're gonna have to explain the end of Square to me again because they beat up the guy that does the art display. He like nearly kills a woman. He's
no,
like attacking
I just
her,
love
and
it
everyone's
because
just
you
standing
don't
there watching. Or it's a guy. He like beats a guy like with a
know.
ninja move
So
or
it was
something.
like the kid that he pushed down the stairs, and then he tried
Yes.
to go
Yes. That's
apologize,
right.
but then
Yes.
he couldn't. When he got there, they had moved, and so I
Got
just
it.
love this idea that's like you don't always get closure, like even though you would have liked to.
Hmm.
Um, eh, I don't know. It's just like, and then he also loses his job because the whole video kind of blew up in his face.
Yeah, it's like cancel culture, right? They're being too sensitive. I'm with him. It's like, but then again, you're like, you showed a child getting obliterated. So you're like,
He remember because he gave it.
he
He,
didn't want it. Yeah, it
yeah,
was the art. It was his
the
team, right?
yeah.
The advertisers. They're the ones that came up with the video.
Yeah, and they're like, "What do you think of the video?" And he's like, "Well, he was very distracted, so he's just like, you know what, just post it," and which was a
It's
huge
fine.
mistake. And
Yes, I
that was
know.
like
He's like,
the video we made, and then my boss later saw the video, and he was like, he didn't even watch the whole video. Then somebody in the department's like, "Hey, did you watch that video?" He's like, "No," and he went and watched the whole thing, and he's like, "Holy crap!" And then he talked to me, and he's like, "Can you edit out all this violence?" But it was for a zombie chase race. So of course, there's gonna be bloody zombies. He told me to edit out all the violence.
yeah, you're like, we're gonna do a zombie 5K run. It should be more about the running and less about the zombie gore. And you're like, like, is it though?
Well, he just wanted people to know it was family friendly, but
It's family friendly. There's just blood
there's blood shooting
pouring
out
out
of
of,
her.
out of every orifice. I love
uh,
it. It's so funny, dude. Good times, dude.
well, and it's also like the interpretation of art. I just Ruben, you're my favorite. I love him.
Ruben,
Yeah,
the director,
Ostlund.
Ruben Ostlund. Yeah, I will say,
And Ty,
his
he made
films.
it.
Oh,
Apparently, he made a YouTube video too. I was listening to an interview with him, and after the Oscars for Force Majeure, he made a video, like had his friend record him when he didn't win an Oscar for. I mean, he's won one now for Triangle of Sadness, but he didn't win for Force Majeure. And so he made a video, and it was a fake, but he made a video of him freaking out for not winning, and then it blew up on social media. And then
oh,
later, people found out it was a fake, and then they were more mad because at first people were standing up for him, like, and calling
yeah,
him
like
like,
you
"Are you
should be
okay?"
outraged, and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, and they were like, "You don't care." It kind of reminds me of the Coen Brothers film. What's the Oscar Isaac when he's playing the
Oh,
guitar?
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Inside Llewyn Davis, when the guy's like, he's like, I don't have a coat. Like, I'm freezing. He's like, you don't have a coat. Take my coat. He's like, it was a bluff. A bluff. And then he was like upset. It's an interesting type of humor that's like,
Yes.
it's like almost dark a little bit. Like, and he
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
actually bluffing
for sure.
because he was cold and he wanted a jacket. But at the same time, it was like, he wasn't looking to get a jacket. He was just trying to make a point. Like I need money. I guess more than that, I think they want like the acknowledgement of like all their hard work, being recognized. Because I think it's
Or even
more than just
appreciated, right? Because yeah, it
appreciation.
is a
Yeah.
weird thing where like artists, the tortured artists, where it's like
Yeah.
nobody understands my art. I'm ahead of my
Yes.
time. And it's like,
Nobody
I guess the only way to
understands
do
me.
that is to die, before your time, and then it's like the Heath Ledger thing, right? Where it's like, if he had gone on to keep acting, would we still revere him? No, you're like, he gave one of the best performances as the Joker, and you're like, well, that's awesome. Joaquin Phoenix does it a few years later, and no one can fault him for that performance. It was just as crazy and manic, and you're like,
Oh, and Chris Farley
and
too. You wonder like if like
yeah, if
Johan
he would have lost a
Johansson was
bunch of
still
weight, he would
around.
have been Jonah Hill, and then we never would have heard of Jonah Hill. Chris Farley would have been Jonah Hill for his whole career. But no, it is one of those weird things where Um, yeah, I mean, like, what was it? There was like a literally a plot story about this. I can't remember if it's a true story or this is just like one of those things, but it's like an artist fakes his own death so his paintings are worth more, right? That's like a real thing.
Mm.
Because it's like if he's not around to paint him anymore, it instantly goes up in value. So, and again, I don't remember what it's like a play or something or a movie. I don't know,
Oh,
book,
what
but
did that
true
really
story.
well was the one with Michael Keaton where he shoots himself at the end, like his play.
Oh,
Actually,
Yes,
yeah,
Birdman. Yeah,
that's a great
the
example.
virtues of ignorance or something. I don't remember. I think the
But
something
then he shot himself
something.
in the face, and then the all the critics are like, "Oh, it's amazing!" Like
He
that's
was so
like
tortured doing this. Yeah,
I
they're like,
I know it's like,
this
is
is
this
your
the
opus
message?
magnum. You're amazing. Yeah, it's like his career is now revived. Yeah, and Birdman was great because he played the Batman, and there's a lot of meta humor and commentary about that in the movie, which maybe almost want to enjoy it, but that movie still stressed me out. And it, I remember thinking like, I need a break. I think it is important that movies have cuts because the movie felt like one continuous take, and I remember thinking like, I feel sick and angry. Like I don't get much sick, but I was
Uh,
angry. It was a crazy movie. It
well,
was
before we
absolutely
get
chaotic.
talking about other movies, do you recommend this movie, Ty?
The Square, I think there's some weird people out there that are like, yeah, this is like my top 100 films. I I like Triangle of
Like me?
Sadness. I like Force Majeure, and I think Square is my least favorite out of all of them.
Uh,
But it does have
yeah,
like three scenes that I would love to show people and be like, "Look at this funny scene from this movie," and they'll be like, "You'll never see it," and then I'll be like, "We'll watch it," and I'll be like, "That's pretty wild, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's insane."
well,
So
and the monkey just reminds me of Jared Leto. It's like, when have you taken it too far? Like when,
yes, thank you. That's
like
another
when are
conversation,
you
right? Where
making
you, yeah,
everybody on the film set like really
miserable.
mad?
See, because I joked at Daniel Day Lewis, I'm like, I abused my wife in this movie, therefore I go home every night and beat her 3 times. Like that's Daniel Day Lewis. And then like, but maybe it's not right. Like I haven't heard anything wrong with Daniel Day
I've
Lewis.
heard
I
he's a
don't hear
very sweet
anything about him.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably a very sweet and genuine person. So I'm like, okay, so he's a chameleon and he gets into his roles. Jared Leto's like, oh, I'm playing a gangster Joker. How about I send you a dead rat in the mail? It's like, or not. Like you don't have to do that. Like it doesn't help you in your portrayal of the Joker. It's a gimmick, but it's also like cheap. It's rude. It's downright wrong. It just makes you feel like it's just
I,
wrong.
I do recommend people watch Force Majeure, or maybe Triangle of Sadness first and then Force Majeure, then
Yeah,
this one.
yeah, yeah. Again, and you'll kind of get what this guy's about watching, because I feel like movies like Triangle of Sadness kind of do what Force Majeure and what Square were doing, like not more effectively. I don't know. Maybe he's just getting it as a better director, but also it kind of like I guess I could wrap my head around Triangle of Sadness. It's just like more accessible to me than
Mm,
the Square was, because
sure.
like watching that whole dinner scene, and then the man just like was he hitting a woman or a man? I think he hits the guy, right? The guy like stands up to him and he's like going over to him like up in his face. And you're right. It's like at what point you're starting to harm other people and you're like, okay, enough of this. And everyone has to go beat you up because you just like took it too far, right? But you're like, you have to have some spatial awareness or even emotional intelligence to know that you're actively harming people, right? Like maybe people don't. I don't know. It's a weird world we live in. It's a problem when you have to share this planet with other people. If we all lived on our own planets, we'd all be fine. We'd all leave each other alone. But we live in a thing called society. And so now there's like certain inherent norms that you should abide by. Otherwise, you're going to be beating people to death just to get what you want. And I'm amazed that there's not more narcissists in the world that are just clearly out, to get ahead and further their own agenda, because it'd be a pretty shocking and horrifying world where parents would be eating their children, like anyway, I don't even know what the tangent that's got super dark super quick, but like
But
but this art piece, right? He's like was he beating a woman? I can't remember
no,
what. They want to
he
find the
was
guy out.
going to well, I'll just edit
Gonna
this. He was going to
attack a
rape
woman,
her.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he was assaulting a woman, and then they're all like, "Okay, I guess we should get up and do something."
I guess
All
now.
was a bit too
Well,
late.
after
Gonna
he does
brace her.
assault the
She's
guy, like he was essentially sizing up the guy and then
yeah.
barking at him, or I mean, yelling. I don't know what you call it, a monkey yell, but and then the guy like got up and left because he's kind of like showing him who's the alpha male.
Great. Everyone just sits there quietly and like just go. You know, it reminds me of, I'm guilty of this. I once went to a hypnotist with a group of friends, and I kept waiting to get hypnotized. So I went along with whatever he was doing because I thought like, well, maybe the hypnotism will take effect if I just keep going along with it. Never did. I actively pretended to be hypnotized in front of a whole group of people because I kept thinking I'm going to get hypnotized soon if I just go along with it.
Hmm.
Maybe is that what hypnotism is? Just going. So I don't know how many people in the lineup with me were doing what they were doing because they felt the same way. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. So
Yeah,
I've
I
heard,
mean, supposedly it really works on people, but yeah, I've
yeah,
never
because
seen.
the day I brought, he said, after you pass through this hallway, you're not going to remember this entire evening. He literally said that.
Oh,
And so the
that's why
people
you
that
don't
were
remember,
hypnotized,
Ty, is because he did it.
no, I remember what happened to my date where
How
she was
could you
like, "Where
remember,
are
Ty, if
we?"
it's a forgetting drug? How much
And how
pot
do
did you
you know?
smoke?
How do you know? And how do you know how it works? We literally get out of there, and then she's like, "I don't remember where we were." And I remember thinking, "What a waste of a date! What a waste!" Because all that money I spent, she
Now I'm
doesn't
gonna snap
remember
my
it.
fingers.
I'm gonna say, "Let me guess, you're gonna forget everything." It's just so dumb, but it does work, I guess, on some people. It just didn't work on me. And so sometimes I feel like with art, I'm so cynical. That's why I like watching indie films and foreign films, because to me, they still
Thank you.
subvert my
Okay,
expectations. And I feel like the creators are able to take chances and risks to tell the story that they want to tell. Whereas you can't do that with most entertainment in America anymore. Like,
well,
I
the
guess you
the
have to go
big Hollywood,
underground to watch.
yeah.
Yeah. Go underground and watch some indie film about a man that's a human Swiss Army knife, and I'm like, that's amazing. But then they end up making Everything Everywhere at Once. I do not want to see the
That
Daniels
that
next
has
film.
so
I
many
definitely don't.
Oscars though. That's crazy.
Oh, it is just crazy. But I definitely don't want to see another film by Daniels, because
Why?
I promise you, this next one that they do, they're gonna be like, oh, it needs to appeal to a wider audience because it was so inaccessible. Everything
I don't
Everywhere at
know.
Once. What kind of
They
title is that?
they did 2 home
Oh yeah.
runs.
Oh,
I'm just
wait,
saying.
wait. Who do I know any other directors that have done two amazing first films and then after they sucked? M. Night Shyamalan, um, freaking Darren Aronofsky. I tried
No, I
the
loved
Whale.
The Will is
No,
so
dude,
good.
I just looked up. I looked up scenes from The Whale. It was like a fetching cartoon. Like Brendan Fraser, they literally did they do the banana peel sound or something? He like slips out of and then he's like choking on something, and the lady's like smashing his back because he's choking on some food. He's such a fat, lazy. It just broke my heart to see it. It was
Oh,
awful, dude.
oh,
Awful.
it's such a good movie. I've seen it twice
No, it's
already,
not a
and
good movie.
I'm
It's so
excited to
dumb.
watch it again.
Oh my gosh, I'll never watch that movie. I've watched those scenes from it. It was just so he's like leaning on the it's not a bedside
Armrest.
table. Well, yeah, the armrest, but it's like an end table. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
breaks the end table. It's like
it's
it's like it's
it's
so
sad.
pathetic.
I don't.
It's so pathetic. It's so sad, but it's just awful.
I
But
love
you
it.
know what's so funny? The last thing I'll say about the whole reaction to it, a lot of people were coming out being like, well, Brendan Fraser isn't actually fat.
Wait,
And I'm
oh,
like,
wait.
I'm sure he appreciates that because, like, I've seen him from The Mummy, and he's definitely put on a few pounds. Love him to death. I'm just saying he's not built like he used to be. You know, I'm
What?
not the way I was built in high
But
school.
that argument is so funny to me because it's like,
Oh,
so
it's amazing.
essentially you're saying so movies aren't movies anymore. They're just documentaries.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's like you have to be the thing that you're imitating on screen. So it's like, so you're not making film anymore. You're not making. And this is my favorite part. It's like, okay, well, let's take a tally. How many of the staff need to be overweight? Is it just the actor that you're concerned about? Darren Aronofsky himself, he's not fat. Like, can he not tell that story? Maybe you need to get a fat director, or maybe you need a fat, key rigger, key grip, maybe a fat editor and fat sound artist and a fatty fat bat.
Just like everybody in the entire cast, everybody
Everyone is
behind the
just fat.
camera.
Dude, it's that scene. It's that scene from Family Guy where they're at
Yes.
yes, everyone's in this giant meeting and they're all just like all just like wheezing, and then like he's like everyone's like snacks are best saved for later. And everyone's like fidgeting with like bags of chips and sodas. And at the very end, this whole scene, like nothing gets done in the meeting, and then
Oh.
one of their chairs just collapses. Yeah, that's when we could make fun of fat people, dude. Good times, dude. And I'm fat, dude. I think it's hilarious. I think these jokes are funny. You know what's so weird about it too? I feel like with foreign films, like Michelle Yeoh's character in Everything Ever at Once literally tells her daughter, like, "You're too fat. You need to lose weight." And it's like, you might be like, "Oh, that's a terrible thing that she said." It's like, well, after watching the whole movie, you realize that she cares immensely about her daughter and she wants her temporal well-being and happiness. So her telling her to lose weight isn't so much like an F you, it's more like, I love you. I care about you. I want you to do what's right and do good things to yourself so you have a happy and enriching and fulfilling life. Sometimes
I
it comes in
wonder
the
if
form of tough
I'm
love.
like a bad influence on you or something, because every time I was away from home when I was in Argentina, that's when you were the most healthy you've ever been.
I don't even know what to take by that. So you're saying that you're around. Yes,
I'm
you
a
add to
black
my
hole.
stress.
I-
Yes, yes. That's so funny.
Well, it's
Are
funny
you
because
are you
even Tyler told me when we were roommates, he's like, I used to get out and do things. And we were just at like home watching TV because that's all I do is I watch movies.
That's too funny. No, mine is Panda Express. It's the Panda Express. It's all the awful food that I eat. I'm done. I've been to the gym 5 times now. I went 4 times last week. I've been twice this week. Oh, that's 6 times. I'm not good at math either, folks.
I'm
But I've been
proud of you,
working out,
Ty.
baby. I'm gonna pack on some muscle. Wait, what?
Good. I said I'm proud of you.
Because Jordan's like, I don't want to have to try to do CPR on you like I was a whale because I watched that movie.
Oh wait, I was thinking
And I saw how
Tobias
that
when
turned out.
he thought the guy was dying on the beach, but it was just turns out he's sleeping. Just did CPR.
Oh wait, what's that? Triangle Sad? No, what was that? Was that Triangle Sadness where he does CPR? What movie? Tobias? Which
No,
movie?
Tobias. Oh, Fumegate. From Arrested Development.
Okay. Oh,
He
he did
lost his
CPR.
doctor's license because he was doing
Oh,
CPR on a guy who's sleeping on the beach.
that's right. He was sleeping on the beach. That's right. It's been
So
too
that's
long
what
for
we've been
me.
watching lately, me and my wife. Ty, what have you
Arrested
seen
Development.
lately? Yeah.
I've been watching this teen drama called Shadow and Bone, and I don't know if I can stand much more of it. I watched the first season, and now we're on the second, and I'm just like, just it's doing the same thing that Divergent did. It's doing the same thing that Maze Runner did. It's the same thing that
Oh,
every Hunger Games. It's
where it
like
like hooks you at
he
first and
did
you're like,
pretty good.
interesting
Yeah,
concept. Yeah.
interesting concept. And then I'm like, but you have nowhere to go. You have nothing interesting to say. It's
Yeah.
over.
Or Lost. Like
And
it starts out so strong and then you're just like,
yes,
it's going
yes.
nowhere.
It's not going anywhere. Or I've just lost interest. Like I no longer feel the over, and that's why I think about Lord of the Rings often, where I was like, how do they manage to get like a story that I cared so deeply about and make it
And
so
end it
coherent?
perfect. Yeah.
And every movie gets you to like re-care about re-care to once more care about all the characters, their motivations, their relationships to each other. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of films these days, where I just like, especially TV show. Like, guys, I have to say,
Uh,
films that are like take their time and really care about their characters. Nah. It's like all the Netflix, all the Disney, and all the Prime. It's like here's a show, watch it. It's got a character that you like or a show and a concept you like. And it's like, but it's not any good. Yeah, but like what's the alternative? Hanging yourself? Like you're gonna watch our
uh,
show, or this isn't the streaming service for you. And now it's just like content. Just content, and it's
yeah.
awful.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, some
And
of it's like multi-million dollars went into this thing, and it's like, and it's still awful. Like, why?
well, that's why, I mean, that
Put
was
me
kind
in,
of the
coach.
main
I'll make
reasons.
something
Wait,
better.
that's kind of the main
Oh
reasons we
gosh.
were doing the pod is just to like sift through all that because there's so much garbage
Yeah,
and
we
it's
need to
just
help people find good
the
movies, and
good
we're
stuff.
finding
Yeah.
it. People are writing in. We saw a comment. Someone said if we liked RRR, there's another film directed
Yeah, he
by
also
the same
actually
guy.
corrected us of a few different things. I was gonna wait to share it when Cameron was on because Cameron likes them. Uh,
What did he correct?
he
Like
said we said a
politically
couple.
correct?
No. He said we said a couple things wrong. He said first is um he said it's not a Bollywood film. So Cameron was right, and I said it was a Bollywood film, so I apologize. Apparently,
How
uh,
dare you?
he said all Bollywood movies are in India, but not all Indian movies are Bollywood.
Huh.
So
Is it like, what is Bollywood? Is it like
it,
Hallmark for
it, it,
India?
it
Like,
it's like their Hollywood. So, but it's like, like Hollywood doesn't make all movies because there's independent companies that make movies as well. So not all movies come out of Hollywood.
I guess, but like what is Hollywood then? Because
Yeah,
it's
now
not
I'm
like
thinking about it. I'm like, I don't get
That's-
it.
I mean, like we have the Hollywood sign. Is
As
that
I
what
was
you're
saying
referring
it
to?
out
It's a
loud.
place. Yeah, Universal Studios. What is it? Yeah, I don't know. But I the only thing I would say about it is yes, he's saying like this movie was made outside of what's contemporary Bollywood. Sure, I buy that because I don't know where this movie came from.
Oh, and then
Crazy
you
movie.
said, Ty, you were like, isn't that the
What was
same
it?
guy he was chasing? And the face sketch was actually not of the best friend. It was a different guy.
It was
Because
the main character that he was looking for.
no, it was a different person. Because you kept saying, oh, that's the same person as the main guy, and it's not the main guy. It's he was chasing another guy.
So
It's not that guy. It's another guy.
it's that guy is the okay. Wait, real quick. So the scene where he's about to show him the photo
Yeah, he said the face sketch was not of the
of
best friend because there's two best
right,
friends, member that are
it was
enemies.
the other main dude,
It
right?
was the
One of
guy that
it was
he had
himself.
chased earlier.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was,
yeah. The chased earlier, but he
and he
was a
tortured it,
friend
and
that.
then he threw the snake at him. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That oh, that was the sketch of that guy.
Yeah,
So he was
that
looking
was
for
that
him.
guy. Yes.
And he was his key to getting the guy that was in the moped. But the guy riding the motorcycle, I called it moped. The guy riding the motorcycle, the other bro, he would have recognized the painting. He's about to show him, but then it gets blown and gets destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Because he would have been like,
And then he'd
I
be
do
like,
know that
"Oh,
guy.
yeah, I know that guy." And then the whole like, of course, that moment couldn't happen then. It needed to happen later. So.
And guys, like I said, take your dating advice from RRR. Just pop a woman's tire and she's helpless and needs help on the side of the road.
Just throw
You're there
nails
to help
at
out.
her
Just throw
car.
nails.
Pray that she doesn't crash and fly up a bridge.
Dude, we should do a sketch of that, dude, where he's like, "Oh, how do you know the car will stop here?" And he's like, "Because I popped her tires with
As it
nails." And he's like,
smashes into
"That's a
all these
great
people on the
idea."
sidewalk.
And she just like endangers everybody else. Yeah, it's so funny. Anyway, love the corrections, folks. Yeah, keep writing them in and watch our show or the Futro podcast. And if you find other mistakes, because we're bound to make. I sometimes go back and listen to the
Or
episodes. I'm like, "Oh, we said the wrong name or we said the wrong
yeah,
actor or
that
whatever."
happens all the time.
It happens all the time. Just sometimes we're flying around with all these ideas and there's no time to see. We're not creating art here. This is just us having a good time. We're letting off steam.
And
But isn't
my
that weird that some people might paint like, okay, real quick, Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? I
Mhm.
know that you or somebody doesn't like them. I think Cameron or Grant mocked me for liking the Red Hot Chili
I
Peppers.
like them.
Or but I remember I think Clinton said he didn't like them, and then you were like, "Whatever, Ty, you've got like every single Red Hot Chili Pepper song ever." And I was like, "Yeah, I have it, but I don't listen to them all the time." But the cool thing is, one of the bandmates was seriously into drugs, and so in order to stop his drug habit, he started putting time into playing music with his friends, and they could keep an eye on him and help him get some help and occupy his time with more meaningful and good things like making music. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's kind of cool. Like, that's really cool. You make a really cool, successful band, become these famous musicians, and you literally were trying to escape a problem. And so, like, doing that, like, allowed you to, do something that other people can enjoy. Whereas I kind of look at this podcast, people might listen to it and be like, oh, I like this, or it's entertaining. That's what I hope it is entertaining more than anything. And we can give you movie recommendations of a movie that you think you might like,
Well,
a movie that you haven't heard of.
you mentioned so much garbage TV. I mean, I do
Yes,
watch a lot of that.
extremely.
I mean, I'm watching Lava, The Floor is Lava, which is like a
Oh my
reality
gosh.
TV. I love it. Me and my wife absolutely
That
love
just
it.
seems like an idiocracy kind
It
of movie.
it is. It's like a
So
bunch of white
yeah.
trash people that come on to win $10,000. It's basically like a really like a white trash version of Squid Games. I love it. It's so good.
Too funny.
And
No, I think the concept's pretty funny. Like it reminds me of like people that play tag professionally. They're just like parkour
yeah,
artists that play tag against each other,
yeah.
and they're like leaping over all these obstacles and stuff. And you're like, what on earth? Like
Well,
this is
it's
the
like
most
all those dating shows that
it
you
would
love
not
to
be fun to
watch.
play tag with. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, well, it's like all those dating shows that you love to watch, those reality dating things.
Oh my gosh, that I'd love to watch. No, it's digital heroin. I keep torturing myself and relapsing and watching the next season. I don't enjoy watching them. They're awful. I'm baffled that
Ah.
people would even one volunteer for the opportunity to be on the show, and two agree to marry someone that they've never seen. It's the most insane thing. And then like you could argue, well, not all of them have to say yes at the altar or whatever, but it's like take marriage and reduce it to the most insane like if you needed any proof that the institution of marriage is a joke today, watch Love is Blind.
Or
It's
or the
insane.
Heartbreak Kid. Tatiana hated
Yeah,
that movie. They just totally poke fun at marriage
sure. Yeah.
and so I also rewatched the first season of Invincible because I can't wait for season 2. And dude,
Oh
it is
yeah.
just as good. I was so worried. I'm like, oh no, is it gonna fall out of my top 10? No, it definitely stays there. I
It
was
is
almost
good.
like, oh no, do I love this better than Death Note? So I started rewatching Death Note, and I'm like,
I
okay,
saw that
no,
too.
Death Note is perfect. It's
That,
so
that was so good.
so
It
good.
is. I literally was like watching just like a video came in my suggested about Death Note and it was just like a 10-minute essay of like why he loves both Light and L and their chemistry
Uh,
and like their back and forth. And he was like, look at these
you know,
scenes, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to watch this show again.
well,
Like it
you
was
know
so
what's
good.
interesting is Light. The first time I watched it, I was kind of like not rooting for him, but I was like, yeah, kill the bad guys. And I was like, I didn't
Feel the
want him
bad
to get
guys.
caught so quickly. But watching it this time, I'm like, oh man, he needs to die. He is horrible.
Stop
Like
him.
he is.
Like at the end of the first episode, I will become the god of this world. You're like, oh, like
Well,
that's who Light
he's
is.
so
Yep.
cocky. I'm like, oh my gosh, he needs to be put in his place. He's ticking me off. Like he's just like thinks
I just
he's
want you to
like
know I'm L. Dude,
so many.
we need to watch the whole series and review it, right?
Well,
Because we got a
Cameron
lot
and
of
Grant just
Weingarts.
watched it. I'm almost done. You should get on that time.
Deal. Let's freaking do it. Because I would much rather talk about that series than all of Adam Weingarten's The Death Note.
Oh my gosh, I want to just talk about everything Adam Weingart has done. To talk about upcoming directors, Ty would say he peaked after what was the second film that we were talking about?
Kong
The
Skull Island? Or did he not even do that one?
no,
Why did
he
he
did King Kong versus Godzilla,
Yeah,
but
Kong Skull Island movie. Oh no, it was King
no,
Kong versus Godzilla?
yeah,
I didn't even know that was a movie. Is that like a movie?
yeah, Godzilla versus King versus Kong. You haven't seen it?
No, well, hang on a second. I'm gonna look him up. Adam Weingart, because I was it
He
the one that did
did Death Note.
let
He
me look
did
this up.
Your Next. Those were the two.
Your Next was good. I like
Yeah,
that one.
And then The Guest. I love The Guest. Oh my
The Guest
gosh.
was
Ah, so good. Get
yeah,
out of here.
Godzilla versus Kong. I don't think I saw that movie.
It's the and
Does it have
the
Millie Bob Brown, the Stranger Things girl?
yeah, well the
That's
11,
why I
right?
didn't. Yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
know
didn't
her
see
name.
that one. I remember seeing her gonna be in it, and
It's
then
got
I saw the
Paperboy in it
movies.
too. And it's got the little kid from Hunt for the Wilder People. You think like with that cast it would be great, but man, the script is horrible. And that's because he didn't have the same script writer because the first two films, Your Next and The Guest, like his script writer, he left in the dust and they need to get back together and start making
No, he did the
movies.
Blair Witch remake, which was yeah.
I liked it the first time. Second time I watched it, I was like, okay, it doesn't hold up at all. But
It's just not like I mean, I remember watching it too and thinking like, oh, I mean, it's a good thriller, and then I'm like, oh, but the first one's like incredible, and it's
I
so
know. I
much
rewatched the
cheaper,
first one. I'm like,
such a better
okay,
marketing. Yeah,
it just blows this new one out of the water.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
like the ending and the concept of like time being different, and he just missed her by a hair.
Oh, for
Like
sure. Yes, the
fascinating.
whole you're almost like, oh, it's like a sci-fi take on. It's almost like
Yes,
watching
coherence.
was it Insidious 2 where you're like,
Oh,
oh, they're going back. I just because the
oh,
whole premise, it was a swing and not necessarily a miss. It was just kind of like, oh, they were going swinging for the fences, and I can respect that they were like
like I said,
a
it's a
parallel
great script
universe.
writer. I think
Yeah,
those two need to get back together and make movies because ever since they
yeah.
stopped working together, you got King Kong and I mean versus Godzilla, and you got Death Note, which I still like because it's like Final Destination, which I'm a huge fan of. We
Yeah,
don't need to
I
get into
mean,
that, but
no, for
um,
sure. Adam Wingard, that's super funny.
anything else you've
Uh,
seen, Ty, or what you're looking forward to?
Um,
I watched the trailer for Ari Aster's new film like 1,000 times. I can't wait. I'm
the Walking
overhyping it.
Phoenix vehicle. I keep getting
Yes.
confused. Is there another one? So there's one like I'm scared, darling, or something like that. Is that the one? Don't worry,
Oh no,
no.
that's
Don't worry, darling. No, no. Sorry,
oh
that's the
yeah, that's the
Harry
crap.
Styles, Olivia Wilde. Yeah, yeah. What's the what's it called? Like
Yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix, what is it called?
Bo is afraid or something.
Beau is afraid. That's the one. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, darling. Beau is afraid. Beau is afraid. And then like it gets weird, right? Like there's visuals are like really
Yeah, it kind of looks
strange.
like Secret Life of Walter Mitty meets Everything
Yeah.
Everywhere All at Once, kind of
Yeah.
Synecdoche,
Yeah.
New York.
Meets Joker. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix has he been typecast now? Like, is he ever going to be normal again? Like, can he just go back to being the evil Roman with the thumbs down or whatever the gladiator fight? You know, like,
I almost like that he's more gone the cuckoo route because
yeah,
his old
he's
stuff after rewatching Where's the Evil Roman, I'm kind of like I like him as this
gladiator. I don't know if it's a Roman,
gladiator, yeah.
but well, yeah, he's the king. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
He
and
probably is Roman. I don't know.
but I'm so excited for this because yeah, the Joker was one of my it's just one of his best roles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I think he did a good job at playing a mentally ill person. It's weird to think of it as like a Joker role. Anyway, then the whole movie is so insane. But like I kept thinking about like, is he? Yeah, is are we never? I don't know. Joaquin Phoenix. What do I think about him? He's between Jared Leto
Yes.
and Daniel Day
And
Lewis.
did
He's in
Day
the
Lewis. He's
middle
like right in the middle. He
because
plays
I'm
it
like
pretty. He
because you know
rides
what
the
he
line a little
did?
bit.
He went on David Letterman's show as one of his
Yeah.
characters
Yeah.
and like didn't talk and he was like all out of it and stuff. And you're like,
No, and then he at
he's
the
gonna be a character
Oscars hit
for the
him
rest of the
talking
movie.
about like cows and the milk and
Oh my
stuff.
gosh, dude, don't even get me started.
Like I said, so
Dude, like I live in Wisconsin and like every farmer is like, that guy does not know what he's talking about.
yeah.
I asked every single one of them and they're
Well,
like,
I
yep,
feel like he's a little out of touch
cows.
because when you're
I
that
said a touch. Guy's never seen a cow. He doesn't know what a cow is. He's like,
because he
I
gets
hear that cows drink milk.
I think he was just so lost in his last role, he kind of like wasn't able to get out of that role. Like something
Dude, he should have just started laughing like the Joker, even like, just like that would have been the best
yeah.
Academy Award accepting ever if you just started laughing uncontrollably. Dude, I would be like, you know what? I will see every single Joaquin Phoenix movie for the rest of my life in theaters twice if he had just accepted his speech and just started laughing maniacally, rolling on the floor laughing, and then just gets up and walks off like wiping a tear from his eye. I That would have been the move, dude. And you talk about cow's udders, cow's teats. I don't know. Guy's a weirdo. Guy's a total weirdo.
Yeah. But
Speaking of
I
cow teats, you know what? It's funny. We watched the Thumb movies. We got to talk about those, but we're
yeah.
gonna talk about those later. Watching those again, wow. We were such weird kids growing up. I don't know why we ever thought these movies were good. There's some great sound bites that remind me of like SpongeBob level, like quotable, like
Well, yeah. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. We'll talk. There you go. We gave people a sneak preview of what's to come.
yes, the
We are
Thumb
going to be
movies,
reviewing the Thumb movies.
the Thumb movies. Oh, golly, I've got Thumb on the brain. Folks, it's been such a pleasure. What is art? This podcast is art. You know, if I poop in my hand right now and smear it all over the screen, is that art?
You need to watch the Holy Mountain.
Are we?
There's literally a turd that says they spray it gold, and it's like, is it art?
I love it. Yes. Is this art? Is this art? That's so funny. Guys, what is art? The eye of the beholder finds the beauty, right? I don't know. Guys, I've got nothing left to say about the square. Although I will say, Triangle Sadness, the square, I was hoping the next film will be a shape. So, circle's already taken. Sorry. You have to find a different name for a movie. And the cube has already been taken too. So, you can't do those shapes.
Which I
Circled
finally bought
square.
on a digital copy, so I'm gonna try to finish the Japanese remake. It starts
Maybe
out
he'll
pretty
call it the
slow,
oblong. Is that even a shape? Oblong. Uh,
and I still want to
Area of
direct
happiness.
Cubed one day.
Cubed. It's a great idea, man. It's good stuff. Folks, you heard it here first. We love you. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Leave
Bye.
us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com, and leave us a comment on our videos if we make any more errors, and we will correct them on the podcast, and you will be vindicated, listener, dear listener. That was like, who in the heck do these guys think they are? Saying false facts about my favorite movie, RRR. But we love you so much. Thanks for the corrections, and We love hearing from you guys. So take it easy, stay safe out there, and I don't know. I'll just end it with. There you go.
Bye.